Back to the Future Part 2, we have everybody returning except Crispin Glover. Everybody else, you're back, not Crispin. Want too much money. He had a big role in the previous movie, but you know, we're telling the story of Marty McFly's travels here. They're not all going to be about Dad and Mom hooking up. So for that matter, like even Mom, Leah Thompson, could have had a smaller role too. And I guess she ultimately does. So in this movie, we've got a lot of the stuff that people recall about Back to the Future actually happening in this movie. He travels in 2015, 30 years in the future. Yeah, we had a big Back to the Future 2 day. You know, we've talked about what they got right and wrong before. But, you know, they got the power laces. Nike was like, in 1985, Back to the Future, 30 years later, we got power laces. Nope. Back to the Future Part 2 is from like, what, 1989? Shit's not in the original. Well, they've got the problem with their kids. We got other problems in the movie. You know, in the future, everybody's a douche. It's over the top. I realize that this world they were painting is fantasy, but it comes off very Tim Burton-esque. Griff, the grandson of Biff, he's either son or grandson here. Yeah, he's like grandson. Total douche. It's like, okay, I know you can be mean, but you don't have to be like a cartoon. His whole posse, nothing right about that. What are they, tranks? Some of these new drugs they're talking about in the movie? It's tranks and speedballs or something. So I'm thinking, you know, tone it down a little bit. Yeah, the cars look weird. There's shit that doesn't go down. They thought there'd be more Jaws sequels. There weren't. So the joke about that doesn't really work. We got a first appearance of Elijah Wood at the Cafe 80s. You know, they did get right how much people are obsessed with 80s. In 2015, they got that right as hell. And they got the hoverboards everybody wants to be real, but aren't. This comes from that movie. And the hoverboard's cool. I mean, this effect mostly works. It's a great idea. This is the installment that has the most weak points, but it also has the most fun with time travel. So, in trying to solve this problem to keep the son out of jail, they inadvertently create a bigger one where old Biff goes back to the 50s with a sports almanac, tells his younger self to gamble on everything, knowing what's going to win. You know, I always bet on the winners, that way I never lose. And so they have to try to stop this, because when they go back to what they think is 1985 to drop off Jennifer, and I think Einstein also, they learn that it's a dark, grim hill valley where evil Biff, a play-up of Donald Trump, has taken over, built palaces to himself in the form of gambling casinos, and everything's miserable. So they head back to 1955, interact with the previous movie. You know, that's kind of fun. The way they're able to pull off having the characters in the scene without a static camera requires the newly invented motion control camera, computer-controlled camera that allows them to match the sequences, and it works out. There's a few moments where it doesn't necessarily. Old Biff talking to young Biff. Pay close attention how young Biff is like, oh, I'm getting sick in the car. I've got my head turned around backwards so you don't see that I'm a stunt double or a stand-in. And then they switch them out. Not things everybody's going to notice. Yeah, I thought that this one was a little too campy, though. Now, I still enjoy this movie, mostly on the boldness of some of these properties. You know, not necessarily prediction, but the coolness of the hoverboard. Not as cool as the original Time Machine, that DeLorean, one of the best movie cars ever. Still quite cool. And I like the way they're playing with the timelines, without it being too terribly confusing. You know, Back to the Future Part 2, I give 3 out of 4 stars.